Hey everyone, and welcome to the Full Sail Online or FSO training for creative presentation. My name is Kristen Heaney. I am one of the instructors that teaches creative presentation. I might not be your instructor, but there is a large department of us that teach this course. I'm joined tonight by another awesome instructor from CRP. His name is Daryl Moore, and he's going to be kind of manning that chat box that you guys are typing in. And Daryl just said hello there. So what I want to kind of do here is kind of just set a couple of little ground rules because we do have a lot of people registered for this session tonight. And I also wanted to clarify that this particular training, the FSO training, is all about a focus on how to use the FSO platform as it pertains to the creative presentation course. So we're not going into any content tonight. You should have already had your go-to sessions for week number 1 with your individual instructors. So if anything does come up where it pertains to content or you have questions, you really do need to address your individual instructor about those, but we'll be happy to answer your questions tonight when it comes to the material I will go through for this FSO training. So a couple of ground rules. Again, since we've got so many people registered for this session, I want to try and get through as much material as I can, and then pause periodically to see if there's any questions. I'm sure, as you guys can see here in the live session, that chat box does go by pretty quickly, and I don't want to miss anyone's questions. I'm sure Daryl is trying to keep up with them as quickly as he can. So if we do miss a question, just chime back in and let us try to find that question once again. And there might be times where a question pops up and I want to reiterate that. And the reason being is because those that are watching the recording cannot see the chat box. So I want to reiterate that verbally so that everyone can hear the response to it, okay? So that's what we are covering here tonight. Hopefully it won't be too long of a night. And one question that did come up that I think is worth answering once again here in the recording is that if you guys are signed up here in the live session, we are repeating these 2 more times this week, but the material will be the same. So there is no need to attend the other live sessions this week just for the FSO training. So if you are here live, thank you very much, guys, for taking the time out of your busy days to do that. All right, so I wanted to move through a bit about the FSO platform. So obviously you need to log into the FSO platform. And this is really what it will look like when you come into that login screen. You can access it from your desktop. It is also very mobile friendly. So you would go to online.fullsail.edu in order to log on to the FSO platform. So keep in mind, guys, that every student, whether they're campus students or there are online students, make use of the FSO platform. All assignments are submitted in here. All communication happens through the FSO platform. So it is important that you get to know it. All of your instructors will be using it. So I wanted to go through the different areas that are going to be very helpful for you in our course and just highlight things that you will need to be aware of for creative presentation. So obviously you need to log into the FSO platform using your student login. I do have a lot of screenshots tonight. Unfortunately, they're from the faculty viewpoint, so it might not look exactly like your viewpoint, but I wanted to highlight a couple of things that will be useful for you. So once you have logged into the the FSO platform, it will look somewhat like this. You'll have a lot of information coming forward for your course. So this is a screenshot of what I would normally see here. Obviously, there's going to be sections that you don't have access to as students, one of which would be grading, because that's my job, right? And then managing the section, things like that are not going to show up on your side. But you will be able to see all of the different items that you are responsible for throughout the course. You will get to see your grades. You will get to see the publishing dates and the due dates of everything that's coming up here. The weighted grade, all of these items should appear for you as well. A couple of things here on the left that are important. this about section, and I'll go through these in more detail in a moment. The about section, the announcements, the messages, and the people are definitely going to be important to you guys moving forward here. So what I normally show some of my students is this in the go-to session. So if you're one of my students, hey guys, you've already seen this week, but if not, this is helpful to see your week in advance, okay? So this is what I normally show to my students. It's kind of like a snapshot of everything that they have due coming up in week number 1. So here you'll see all of the different assignment names. We usually go by the numbers and then the name, the 1.1 go-to training, which hopefully all of you guys have had a chance to either attend live with your instructors or you've watched the recording. We do record each of our go-to trainings. So the 1.2 learning activity, you'll see all of these different assignments that are listed here. Another important item on the screen is this left column with the dates, and that is going to be when the items are published, when you're able to view them. So when you're able to view those assignments, they're open to you, you can interact with them. This column on the right is your due date column. So generally with our course, most of the due dates are going to be on Sunday nights. It's kind of how our course works. But I did want to point out an item that will start appearing to you if a due date is different. So say for instance, in week 1, we have the 1.3 presentation history discussion. There's actually 2 separate due dates for this assignment. And you can see that the 2 due dates are listed here within the platform. So we were talking a little bit before the recording started about the initial post. That's something that hopefully you guys are completing due tonight. But here is how you would see that due date for the initial post, and then you will see when the replies are due. So I just wanted to note if you would see 2 different due dates for an assignment. So another section that is going to be an important section for you guys is up towards the top of the FSO platform. You'll see a little bell, what looks like a little quotation mark, and then there's my picture. Hopefully you guys are adding your pictures. If you haven't, I will encourage you to do so. But this little bell right here, red dot, will appear when you have a new notification. Oftentimes instructors are going to be sending mass messages to the different courses. This is how we communicate with you guys. So that is an indication that you have a new notification of an announcement that you should check. Over to the right, you will see a notification for your feedback and your messages. So guys, this is very important because your messages and feedback are the ways really that your instructors, that's their first line of communication with you. That's the first route that we take to get in touch with you. Say for instance, your file won't open or maybe the audio is not working. That's how we'll reach out to you. And we do expect that you hopefully will reply to us in a timely manner. So be sure that you're checking back into the FSO platform on a regular basis, at least daily, to make sure that you don't have any new notifications or you don't have any new messages, grades, or feedback, okay? So here's one of those items where I think we're gonna try and pause here. I do see a couple things happening through the chat box, so I wanted to pause here and see if there's any questions regarding the content that I just went over in the last couple of slides. So I'll take a pause here. If you wanna put them in the chat box, that's great. Danny, thank you for answering no questions. Let's see, Lewis, you're asking, is a healthy checking habit for FSO is checking it every 2 to 6 hours? I will show you on the next screen how to set your notifications. So maybe you don't have to check it as often, but you have your notifications coming in via email. I think it is wise to check it a couple of times a day, but at the very, very least, at least once a day. Joseph, you're asking, is there a format for the photos? My computer doesn't give me any resolution requirements, so I am still just, okay, I see. So you're asking the requirements for the photos for the platform. I'm not sure about those requirements. Daryl, if you have an answer to that, that would be great. Okay, Daryl is saying web screen resolution is a good size for the photo, 300 to 600 pixels. Thank you, Daryl, for answering that. All right, guys, great questions so far. Okay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and continue moving forward. Again, I'll pause periodically to see if there's any questions about the content. So once you guys are in the platform, the FSO platform, there's a couple of things that you should be aware of, that you should be handling when it comes to your account. So on this screen, I've got an arrow pointing to this account here, and that's going to be a drop-down box once you click on your picture if you've uploaded it here, but that's where you will locate that. If you click on your picture, a drop-down box will appear where you can manage your account. So here's a couple of things to keep in mind as you are moving through managing your account, which will be beneficial to you for the course. So first, again, please upload your pictures. We do tend to have a lot of students, and being online, it's a little bit tough to really get to know our students. So it does help us put a name and a face together if you guys upload your pictures. So if you could, please do so as soon as you can. Also, you can add a biography if you'd like to, a little bit about yourself to give your classmates a little bit of background about you. That would be wonderful. Here's where you set the notifications, all right? I think that it is advantageous to set all of your notifications to alert you when your instructor has posted a grade, when an instructor has posted some feedback, or they've just sent you a direct message. Obviously, these notifications are going to be a bit different for students, but I do suggest that you go in and check all of the notifications so you don't miss any important information happening in the FSO platform, especially if you're one that doesn't tend to check the platform regularly. This might help you manage that a little bit more. The time zones. So guys, I'm sure that you were told all about the importance of time zones within your instructor's go-to sessions, but you can set your own time zone here for wherever it is that you are located. For me, I'm in Orlando. I'm in the Eastern time zone, so that is going to be important. So let's talk a little bit about time zones and their importance to the course. So everything that we do here at Full Sail is based on Eastern time zones, or Central Florida time. So what does that mean? Everything is normally due at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, all right? So if you are in California in Pacific time, you're 3 hours behind us. That does not mean that you have an extra 3 hours to complete the assignment. So you have to go back in to the previous screen and make sure you are setting your time zones to let FSO adjust for that difference there. So you're not missing any of the due dates, all right? So make sure that you always keep in mind that everything is due at Eastern Standard Time. All right, guys, so underneath that account management area, there's a couple more options that I wanted you to be familiar with. So if you scroll down a little bit more, you see this resources tab. So I wanted you to be aware of a couple of resources and how to easily access them from the FSO platform. So as you can see here, the arrow is pointing to Safari Books, and this is how you will easily access the 2 books for our course, Creative Presentation. So here's just a quick screenshot of what that will look like once you click on that link. As you probably know, our 2 textbooks are Resonate and Slidology, both by Nancy Duarte, and you have access to these throughout your time at Full Sail. So these will appear here for our course. So that's an easy way to find those books. Next is going to be back on that screen where you have the drop-down menu. You also have access to something called lynda.com. So for our course, I think oftentimes there's this notion that it's a PowerPoint course, which it is not. PowerPoint is a wonderful program, but we're actually a course that teaches the concepts of oral communication and how to deliver a powerful creative presentation. We're not so much focused on teaching the software programs. So you guys as students have access to lynda.com. It comes with your tuition, so you don't have to pay extra for it. It's a wonderful resource for you guys to learn more about these presentation softwares. Okay, so here's just a screenshot of what lynda.com looks like. They're very professionally done tutorials. I highly suggest that you take a look at these if you want to learn a little bit more about PowerPoint or Keynote or Adobe Spark. Okay, so that will be the best way to learn more and more about the technical ins and outs about the software presentation programs. Daryl is saying in here, you must access lynda.com through the website Full Sail One. And the reason that you do that is so that you don't have to pay. If you go through Full Sail One, you have that access as a student. If you were just to go to lynda.com on its own, they would ask, you wouldn't be able to log in with your credentials that way. So thank you, Daryl, for adding that. So again, I wanted to pause here for questions. Any questions that I can answer thus far? There's a couple of questions here. Lewis is saying Slideology is asking for a flash update when I'm on my smartphone. Another item, guys, there's, when it comes to the technical component, when learning online, there is that resource of FSO support, and I will show you their contact information in a couple of minutes on the slide. They are a wonderful resource. You guys are not alone on a deserted island as online students. You have a lot of great resources, and a lot of times technical questions are going to come up. So please keep in mind that that is a wonderful resource. It's one that you should get familiar with as quickly as you can as a student. Zoe, I'm not sure. You're saying I am using the GoTo app. Can I watch classes from here as well as there's a way to have it notify me when one is starting? I'm not too sure that you could watch one like a recording within the GoTo app. Oftentimes as instructors, we house our GoTo trainings on a YouTube site, on our own YouTube site. We do embed the GoTo training recordings right within the platform. So I believe that you're able to join a live session on the GoTo training app. I don't believe that you're able to view a recorded session though. You'll have to review the recorded sessions from the FSO platform, and I'll show you where that is in a couple of minutes. You're welcome. Great questions, guys. They're very technical. All right, I'm going to keep moving forward. Let's see here. Let's go to the next slide. So a couple of things back to the FSO platform that I wanted you guys to be aware of. And these things have a little bit to do with professor or instructor preferences. So one of my preferences to send general messages to all of my classes is to use this announcements tab. That's just my preference. So if you get a new announcement, you'll more than likely get a notification here with the red dot that you've received a new announcement. I think that oftentimes once you've viewed that announcement, it tends to go away from the notifications, but you can always come back into this announcements tab and view all of the announcements that have been sent out throughout the course of the month. So that might be the preference that your instructor has to use the announcements function. The other function for sending mass messages to their students would be the messages function, okay? So you might have seen some instructors send out their what we call their commercial or the preview videos for week number 1. You might have seen that early in the week from your particular instructor. I do want you to keep in mind though, that when you reply to one of these messages, you're actually replying to the entire class. So keep that in mind, that if you're discussing anything with private information or something that just should be a direct conversation, you really should reply directly to your instructor instead of replying to the class as a whole. I just wanted you to be aware of that. That's a little bit of a difference. You can't reply to the announcements, but you can reply to those messages that are sent out. Just keep that in mind. Next has to do with our lectures. So obviously you guys have attended or watched your week 1 go-to training. So I highly recommend and highly encourage you guys to attend at least one of the live sessions as you are moving throughout the course. If you can't, obviously, due to work or time zone constraints, that is no problem. And also, I wanted to let you know that your lecture days and times will more than likely change month to month because they are done based on the instructor's availability and schedule. So mine right now, for instance, are on Tuesdays at 1 o'clock. Yours might be on Mondays at 7 o'clock. So that might change. But one of the great advantages to online learning is that you don't have to fit the lecture schedule. The lecture schedule kind of fits you. But if you can, please try to attend at least one live session. I think it's definitely beneficial. Plus, you have the ability to interact with other peers, other students from different sections throughout your time in the live go-to training, which you might not normally be able to do just within the FSO platform. All right, guys, so I wanted to show you where to locate the go-to training. So there's 2 different items that I have listed here. I'm going to kind of flip-flop back and forth to the screen for a moment. So for my courses, you will see, all of the courses here, you will see 1.1 go-to training. And down here where this orange arrow is pointing, you will see, please click here to register for the live week 1 go-to training. So this is oftentimes where you would click, and then the next screen will show you, in essence, what we call a catalog. So the catalog is where you can register for all 4 of the live sessions that are scheduled throughout the month. I definitely recommend that you go ahead and just register for all of them, put it on your calendar so that if you are able to attend those live sessions, you have it registered in there. So once we have gone through our live lectures, we will then take the time to upload them to our YouTube site and come back into the platform and post the recording in the same area. But as you can see, there's a little header here that says go-to training recordings. So I have embedded my week 1 go-to training right here within the 1.1 go-to training activity for my students to see right within the platform. So if you're viewing it on your phone or you're viewing it from your desktop, either way, you're able to access it right from the platform. Oftentimes, I think your instructor will also send that link out either in the announcements or in the messages as well. So you might get a couple of messages indicating in different spots where you can watch the lectures. Okay, normally the lectures are about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Normally the first 2 weeks are a little bit longer, but it also gives you a great opportunity to interact with your instructors and interact with your peers live at the same time. So it's a great advantage if you are able to attend those live lectures. So submitting assignments. So as you guys are moving through week number 1 and you're coming to the end of the week, you're going to need to start submitting items into the FSO platform. So here is what you need to keep in mind. And this, I will say, is probably one of the most asked questions that I get in week 1. So let me go through this information here. So the FSO platform will only allow you to upload an actual file. So say, for instance, you're working in PowerPoint or you're working in Keynote or Microsoft Word. You can easily drag and drop those files within the platform and it will give you that successful completion check mark. But oftentimes our students aren't working with those programs. They're working with something that they are using a web-based program, say Adobe Spark, or you're working on something in YouTube, or you've housed it in YouTube and you want to submit that link. It's not a file, it's a link, and you can't drag and drop a website into this completion area. So here's the workaround for that. You will need to create a document, like a Word document or other text-based document. Within that document, include your name and also include the website where you have located or you've housed your project or your assignment. Say, for instance, it's an Adobe Spark assignment. They assign you a shareable link. Add that link to that Word document. Upload that Word document and make sure, oh, I'm looking at one thing, and make sure you have uploaded it successfully to get that check mark. Okay, so that's the workaround to get your assignments that were created on a web-based program into the FSO platform. Again, that's probably towards the end of the week. A lot of my students, I do recommend they use Adobe Spark. I think it's a wonderful program, but they come to me on Saturday and Sunday saying, I can't get this into the platform. What do I do again? I remember you said this. So again, that's probably the most asked question that I get every month in week number 1. Michelle, you're asking, all month keeps being said, but in 6 months, will I still have every announcement I've been sent from all previous instructors? Michelle, I don't believe so. You should not continue to receive notifications from us after the course has completed. Again, like as Daryl is saying here, CRP or creative presentation is 4 weeks long. So that's when you'll be receiving information from us if needed, but you would not receive those announcements anymore because we wouldn't post those announcements to that particular class anymore. Good question there. Thank you. So just moving into one more section here. So also file naming conventions. I think it's a really good habit to get into to really start getting organized with your files and the materials that you are creating. So almost every instructor at Full Sail really kind of goes by these file naming conventions. So the correct way to name a file is by your last name underscore first name underscore assignment name. That's an example there of our first assignment in week number 1, Heaney underscore Kristen underscore 1.4. So that's an example of how you could easily name your files. You're going to be creating a lot of work over the course of the next several months. So you want to be sure that you have a great way to keep it organized, and that is a great way to do it. Most of the Full Sail instructors use these conventions. All right, guys, so back into some screenshots here with the FSO platform. This About tab really kind of gives you a couple of different options of items that will be important to you. So this is where you can locate some of this information I'm about to go through. So if you click on that About tab, you have the FSO support card, which I definitely think is incredibly important, some bonus material for the course, and then also our course syllabus. But I wanted to provide you guys a screenshot of the Full Sail, the FSO support backed card. So I wanted to show you this. I definitely suggest you save this number in your phones if you wanted to take a picture of it. Do that. Some of us are very, very technical and can help you with many problems. Some of us, including me, are not as technical and will probably refer you to the FSO support to assist you with anything happening that is technical. Anything having to do with uploading to the platform, some software issues that you're having, login issues as well. This is a great team. They're open almost 24 hours a day. So please, guys, don't hesitate to call them when you are having some technical issues. Another great reason to reach out to FSO support is that they work with us as your instructor. So say, for instance, it's Sunday night, you're having some issues logging in or uploading to the platform. They will actually send us a ticket and say, such and such student is having login issues. Please be aware that we're working with this student. And more than likely, we'll see that message and provide you an extension because we know that you're doing all that you can to upload your assignment. Okay, so make sure you guys are contacting them. I would say the better route is via phone. I think it's a quicker response if you wanted to contact them. Daryl's got a great point in the chat box. So Daryl's saying expect traffic to slow down on Sunday night because all the procrastinators are online. So as you guys can imagine, as I mentioned before, all Full Sail students, whether they are online or on campus, use the FSO platform. Most students have the same deadline, especially as you're moving towards the end of the month, all of those big final projects. are due. So I highly suggest that you don't wait until the very, very, very last minute to upload your assignment, especially as your files are getting bigger and bigger. So try not to wait till the last moment, because you might encounter some slower upload speeds. And once it clicks over from 11:59 to midnight, it's very unforgiving and shuts down the access to the submission area. So oftentimes you need to contact your instructor. They need to manually reopen the assignment for you to submit it. So don't wait till the last minute. Try not to procrastinate. Time management is definitely one of those items that is super important for success in our course, and then all of the other courses you will take here at Full Sail. So I will pause here and see if you guys have any questions before I move into our final section. Okay, I'm not seeing any crickets chirping. Thanks, Cody. So I'm not seeing any questions come through, but I wanted to take a quick pause. So here is our final area that I wanted to talk to you guys about, between Full Sail 1 and some of the different resources that you have access to that will be a huge help in your success to the course. So Full Sail 1 is a wonderful resource for you guys to look at different stories and have different resources and access to these resources. One that I wanted to mention to you guys is this open door tutoring through the Copilot Tutoring Center. This is a brand new center for students. It's wonderful. So if you click on this, you guys as online students have access to this open door tutoring hours. Campus students do, as well as online students. So majority of you guys obviously don't live in Orlando, but you are able to kind of walk in, if you will, by joining this Discord link right here. So if you had clicked on that link, it will take you here to this Discord link, and you guys have access to the tutors through the Copilot Tutoring Center as well. So definitely reach out to them. Oftentimes, the peer tutors are going to be students that are a little bit farther along in the program. They have wonderful credentials and GPA, so they're there to help you as well. So feel free to reach out to the Tutoring Center via Discord. Also, with our course, there are a couple of writing assignments, okay? So you need to be aware that we do have a little bit of college level writing standards. We also have a writing center that you guys have access to. Also, this is coming through that Copilot Center, but I wanted you to be aware of the Writing Center, that it does exist. It is there to help you. So you would contact them at writingcenter@fullsail.com in order to reach out to them. But as you guys have probably saw with the week 1 go-to training, you probably saw the grading rubric, and in week 1 there was that writing component of the rubric. So if you are one that's a little bit a little bit nervous about your writing skills, or you'd like to just polish them up a little bit more, please feel free to contact the Writing Center. Sometimes your instructors will suggest that you contact them. That is, don't take that as something that is insulting in any way. We're just trying to give you guys the resources that are available to you, where you can reach out to them for the best success. So the Full Sail Writing Center does provide services for grammar questions, APA format, which thankfully in CRP we do not have to go over. That comes a little later in your program. But they do help with essay writing, creative writing, cover letters, and resumes. Rodney is saying, I used it today. Wonderful. So yes, I highly recommend you contact the Full Sail Writing Center if you need help with writing, which is definite. Absolutely. We all need some help with writing. What happened to my keynote? Sorry, guys. Last slide here is just another screenshot if you needed to schedule a Writing Center appointment. Let me see. So that's the end of my keynote. So I wanted to kind of move over here to the chat box to see if there are some questions. Let's see. Okay, Michelle, you're saying, I realize this hasn't been necessarily talked about, but will you please emphasize in all, let me keep scrolling here, in all these classes to encourage people to read each other's biographies? Absolutely, guys, read each other's biographies in that people tab. Please, I go by my middle name, but people keep calling me by my first name, which drives me nuts. I think it's important so we can get to know each other. Even my professor respectfully didn't read my bio. Good to know. Thank you, Michelle, and thank you for letting us know. And again, let me see. Let me find your bio. Hold on one second. Let me go to the platform. Just give me 1 second, guys. I'm a little, Daryl, I'm a little hesitant to show that because there's a lot of different student names and numbers that I really don't want to show in the go-to session as it's being recorded. So for privacy, I'm not going to show that. But guys, I do like Michelle's remark about really reading through the different bios through your classmates. We as instructors, I will say, sometimes it is a little difficult because we only have the privilege of being your instructor for 4 weeks. Also keep in mind, guys, just a little perspective taking right now in week number 1. So the majority of us have between 50 to 75 students per month. And so in this week, we're kind of overlapped where our past month is overlapping our current month. So we're doing a lot of juggling of students. So please just be patient with us if we don't get that nickname right off the bat, or maybe we confuse it just a little bit. Just give us a little bit of time. We do really honestly try to make a good effort in trying to learn your nicknames and your likes and your dislikes and your interests and things like that. But just be a little bit more patient with us. Sometimes this week is a bit hectic. Trey, yes, thousands of students enrolled, absolutely. Questions, guys, are great. So if you have any more questions, go ahead and put them in the chat box. Karen, you're very welcome. Cody, you're asking if we do come down there for an event, how do we go about doing so? Well, you got to get down here to Orlando. I mean, you've got to schedule a flight. Obviously, they have, they're very welcoming of all of the students. Daryl is saying, talk to your student advisor to get logged in. Oh no, that's for a different section, I think there. But definitely, if you have the opportunity ever to come to campus, we do behind the scenes tours. We have daily tours. A great time to come down here is through Hall of Fame week, which is coming up in a couple of weeks. Graduation happens once a month. So if you are able to plan a trip to come to Orlando, it's definitely worth your time and energy to do so.
Kristen.
Yes.
Since we're only doing this week, and in your individual teachers will have a chance to tell you more, but we do have something really big that important to Full Sail that's happening in 2 weeks, and that's called Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. And it's a big deal on campus. There's an enormous number of activities. I know you hate to keep hearing how fun it is on campus, but Hall of Fame is designed for online students as well. There are going to be a large number of online sessions that you guys will be able to participate in live. What happens, Hall of Fame is where we celebrate people who've graduated, got out into the world, and made a name for themselves. So we give honors to people who've really been successful in movie clip making and game design and audio recording and so forth. People who've become not just employed, but famous. And so they come back and give to the community. And during Hall of Fame week, we get lots of sessions on behind the scenes of making of hit records and making of special movies. I'm sure there's going to be like effects seminars on the Avengers movies or something like that, because we have people that worked on those things. And you will be able to log in and stream those live. So pay attention to Full Sail 1 for the schedule. Even as an online student, you'll be able to participate in a certain amount of these things, and it's very exciting.
Yes, absolutely. And this is year number 10 that they're doing it. So it's a big celebration. Normally it's in the month of February, but for this year they have moved it to May. So that is coming up, and hopefully you guys are able to interact within your classes and watch a lot of the live streams as they are happening as well. Let's see here. I'm just scrolling through the chat box. Give me a moment, guys. I saw a question. Raphael, can online students take part in becoming tutors? I think that you meant tutors, not tours. So yes, you guys, so we actually had a department meeting today where the director of student services, Beth Ann Durden, I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name, but she came into our meeting and she was talking about some of those requirements. So I do believe that some of those requirements are GPA based, and I think it is open to online students. I would suggest just reaching out to student support or student services and seeing if you can get a little bit more information if you are interested in becoming a peer tutor. Michelle, you're saying, when we graduate, can we walk with a class? I want to walk after it. Yes. So graduation happens at the end of every month. And I think there's a couple of different ceremonies that happen throughout that Friday. It's actually coming up in 2 days here on campus. So yes, there's huge crowds that join. Families are obviously welcome. I love that you're looking forward to graduation. So yes, you can come on down to Orlando from wherever you're at and walk across the stage, and you are definitely joined by classmates there. Good question. It's an exciting time. And I also encourage you guys, if you're into social media, to start following Full Sail, and you'll see some of the images come through. You'll see some of the items on the YouTube channel as well. So definitely follow them to feel like you are immersed in what is happening on campus as well. So is there any other questions that I can answer? Anything that you guys are curious about? Anything that I maybe have missed in this training that you would like me to show you? And Daryl's saying yes with the with social media, that Full Sail has great Twitter and Instagram channels. Absolutely. Austin, you're asking, is this recorded? Yes, it is. I will be sending out this link pretty quickly after the conclusion of our live session right now. I'll be sending it out to all of the creative presentation instructors so that they can post this within their sections. So you guys should have access to this recording either later tonight. More than likely it's going to be sometime tomorrow because it is a little bit late in the evening, but I will be sending this link out to all of the instructors and they will be sharing it with you. Thank you guys for the thanks in the in the chat box. I appreciate that. So what I'm going to do here, I'm not seeing any major questions come through. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording for now, but Daryl and I will stay in the room for a couple of minutes if there's anything else that you guys would like us to address. But if not, you guys are free to go for the night. I do appreciate you attending this live session and asking such wonderful questions. So you guys have a wonderful night, great rest of the week, and best of luck to you guys throughout the course.